What's up, everybody? Today is very windy outside and nasty, so I don't think I'm going to be going kayaking. Instead, what I think I might do is work on a modification for one of my kayaks. Clearly, I am no stranger to doing modifications, like to this boat that I'm sitting on, the Monaco, or the Catch 120 over here with the motor on it, or the Intruder X3, which you guys are probably familiar with. But all of this really started with this boat here, which was my original kayak. And on the back of it, you can see I had installed a skeg, and it's just some plumbing fittings where you have female and male, and they interact with each other kind of like that, allowing the whole skeg to come up out of the water. This was a bit daunting because I had a screw into the boat below the waterline, and I wasn't sure if that was going to work. What I found was the boat never took on water. It gained me a lot of confidence for putting all kinds of screws and nuts and bolts and stuff into my boats over the years. So I have enough confidence today to work on this Catch 120. This is one of my rental boats. It has an anchor trolley on it for changing the position of your anchor. And of course there's a cleat there for tying your anchor down. There are some Scotty mounts on here that I put there in case somebody wanted to use pontoons. And there's a paddle clip over here. I think you might see this again later in the video, but for now what I want to do is improve the tracking ability of this boat by adding a skeg. Here I've got some examples. I've got this one right here. This is very similar to what Pelican offers on some of their boats, like the Catch 130. And then we have this nice one right here. This was given to me by somebody. It's like a generic kind of steerable rudder, but what I'm looking for is something that is fixed, that doesn't move, which would make it a skeg, not a rudder. This was also given to me, but it's got like little clips on there so that you slide it in, and then you can lock it down with these pins there and there. And it reminds me a lot like what you would see on a surfboard. The problem with this though, the base doesn't have any glue or anything, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to adhere this to the polyethylene boat, but we can give it a shot. Over here in my stash, I've got 3M high strength 90, and somewhere over here it says that it works on polyethylene. I've got my doubts about how much I would really rely on this, but we're going to use it in the beginning anyways. In the instructions on this glue, it says to spray both surfaces. I'm going to rub that on there. What you have to do is let it air out a little bit, and it'll become like a contact cement. When it's ready, I should be able to just stick it on there and it should stay. Okay, all right, I've waited long enough. I'm just gonna kind of center that. This is pretty important that you get it straight. Make sure it's on there the right way. Yeah, good, okay. Sure is blowing out there. You know, when the wind is blowing, it really makes the boat go all cattywampus if you don't have some sort of rudder or skeg on the back of the boat. Again, I don't have a lot of confidence in this, so I am going to run a couple screws in here just to be sure. I know putting screws in the bottom of the boat's not a good idea, but I've got a solution for that too. Okay, well, that's definitely not coming off now. But we gotta wonder, is it gonna leak? Let's turn this thing back over. Okay, well, I love the idea of having a skeg on the back of this boat because the Catch 120 is very stable. As far as big fishing kayaks go, it's fairly affordable, brand new, but the tracking has always been its Achilles heel. So if you can see on the back of this, in order to try to leak-proof what I just did, I'm going to take advantage of this little dot right there, which is a center point for adding a hatch in the back. I happen to have a hatch. This is something I found on eBay. It's got a little bag with it, and on the bottom there's a gasket. I'll use this to mark where the hole's going to be. Okay, now one of my favorite things to do, cut a hole in my boat. Roto-Zip with a spiral cut saw is a wonderful thing for chewing through plastic. That was easy. I think I might need that. Okay, let's have a look inside the hole that I made. You can see that there are screws sticking up through the plastic. And it's a good thing that those screws aren't too long, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover them up using the plastic that I cut out of the boat. Every time I do this, I don't think it's going to work. And every time I plastic weld, it works. You really got to get it hot though. When you think it's smushy enough and soft enough, you got to heat it some more. And if it catches fire, it's just about ready. That's my unprofessional opinion. Well, that seems to be on there really good, but to be sure, I made a fifth one and we're going to test it. Okay. I'm trying to twist it off as if it were a cap or something. It's not working. Bend it a little bit. It's not popping off, that's good. I think that's a pretty good test. I say we're good to go. I like it. Too bad I can't test it right now. Might have to wait a little bit. Well, one thing that I've noticed already is that this big fat boat feels like it goes a lot faster because it's considerably less back and forth happening when I'm paddling. It still takes some effort to move her, but man, she feels like she's going through the water better. And I'm actually surprised at how well it turns despite the skeg on the back. Huh. I'm also noticing that I'm just kind of cruising along in this direction and she's staying in that position. This boat notoriously will spin on a dime if you're not constantly paddling. Huh. So now I got myself a very stable boat that tracks really good. That is very rare. me give a little correction. That's it. This is pretty good. I got a current moving me right now. I am out of the wind, but the current is moving from behind. That usually will spin you all over the place. And I'm able to get a couple of casts in now before I got to grab the paddle. That is just a huge improvement. You can see the current moving past this buoy right here. Now I'm in the wind a little bit too. I'm just thoroughly impressed. This is a different kayak. Most big flat bottom kayaks that are very stable are going to be not the best when it comes to tracking. And I felt like, depending on which side I was cranking the lure back, I mean, I could have worked this entire tree line without once touching the paddle. That's just what a game changer. That's really awesome. If you guys are ever courageous enough to put a skeg on your boat, I suggest doing it. I'd say that was a success. Okay. I was very diligent when it came to cleaning the inside of the boat, and it still looks perfectly dry. That's pretty good. Maybe if I put the nose up high, let's see if anything drips down towards the end. Nope. She's dry as a bone. That's pretty cool. Well, I definitely wanted to show you this technique for adding a skeg to the bottom of a boat. I still can't really with any confidence tell you guys you should do this yourself, because drilling holes in the bottom of a boat is not something that you should do even if you can. I do it as a demonstration. But anyways, before I had to close the business temporarily, somebody came by with his solution for how to put a skeg on the back of a boat. And I figured I would end this video by sharing that with you. And don't forget to look for the paddle holder clip. Remember I told you about that? Alright, so I've got a customer here who's brought his own Pelican boat, and it's going to be the very first time that he's getting it wet. And I noticed a pretty cool adaptation that he's made for the very back of the boat. You want to tell everybody what your name is and what you did here?
My name is Dave Kraft, and I got this Sentinel 100, and I figured I'd put a skeg on it. This is my own design.
I like that. Look at this.
It's all PVC except for the skeg, which is a cutting board.
I like how it matches the color of the boat. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So it looks factory. And this is 3/4 inch PVC. You got an elbow here, a 90, a 45, a 45, and a T. So it's pretty obvious what the dimensions are now that you know the thickness of the PVC. And what is this thing that it's riding on here?
That's a paddle holder.
I see that.
What you normally would have up on the side of you.
Yep.
And I just put two cable ties to hold the PVC onto that.
Pretty clever.
Plus it swivels.
Wow. I mean, that's a nice clean design. It comes up out of the water without much of an issue.
Yeah.
It looks like you'll have plenty of it below the surface to help this boat stay true when you're fishing the mangroves or something.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome. A little clip here to remove it.
Yeah.
Everything purchased at Home Depot, huh?
Home Depot or Lowe's. That was just off the cuff design. I didn't borrow anybody's design or anything. It was just off the cuff.
It looks unique. I dig it. Got a little wind out there today.
Yep.
See you in about 4 hours when the tide comes back. Just kidding. Awesome, awesome. I wish I had some champagne. I'd break it over the bow.
I didn't think about that.
I got a Bud Light. I can no.
Pour it over the front.
Awesome. If you guys ever have innovative kayaks and you want to launch it for the first time, by all means, bring it by.
This is the first time I've ever been in a kayak.
Any kayak?
Yep.
Wow. Could have fooled me. I'm impressed.